The security badge beeped as Jasmine Reid swiped into the executive parking garage at 2 a.m. Jasmine Reid raised her baby sister, put her through college, made her a millionaire by 28, gave her everything. Sierra repaid her by trying to steal Jasmine's $2 billion company. But Sierra made one mistake. She underestimated her sister. For 3 weeks, Jasmine went undercover in her own building, as a security guard, invisible, watching, recording. Sierra had no idea her biggest threat was walking right past her every single night, Sierra making decisions in her company. And according to the encrypted files Jasmine had found 3 days ago, Sierra was getting ready to bury her. Before we continue, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. These stories take hours to create, and your support helps them reach more people who love powerful storytelling. Now let's get back to Jasmine's unbelievable journey. 1 year earlier, Jasmine Reid stood on the rooftop terrace of Crown Tower in downtown Los Angeles, watching the sun set over the Pacific Ocean. At 39 years old, she had everything. Crown Cosmetics had just been valued at $2.1 billion. Forbes had named her one of the most powerful women in beauty. Her products were in 12,000 stores across North America. Her face was on billboards in Times Square. But more than the money or the fame, Jasmine was proud of what Crown represented. A black woman from East Oakland who'd started with $500 and a dream, who'd mixed her first lip glosses in her grandmother's kitchen, who'd sold products out of the trunk of her car at farmers markets and street fairs. She'd been rejected by every investor she pitched to in those early days. Too niche, they said. The market's too small. Urban beauty doesn't scale. She proved them all wrong. Crown Cosmetics specialized in products for melanated skin, shades that actually matched, formulas that actually worked, marketing that actually represented the women who bought them. Within 5 years, major retailers were begging to carry her line. Within 8 years, she'd opened her own manufacturing facility. Within 10 years, she was a billionaire. Her success story was taught in business schools. Young black girls saw her and believed they could do it too. That meant more to Jasmine than any amount of money. Her younger sister Sierra had been with her from the beginning. Well, not the very beginning. Jasmine had already been in business for 3 years when Sierra graduated from college. But Jasmine brought her into the company immediately. Sierra was brilliant with social media, with influencer marketing, with understanding what young women wanted. She had energy and creativity that Jasmine loved. "You built something incredible," Sierra would tell her. "I'm just helping it grow," and grow it did. With Sierra handling marketing and brand partnerships, Crown Cosmetics exploded. Revenue doubled, then tripled. They expanded into skincare, then hair care, then fragrance. Sierra became the face of the brand's social media, the cool younger executive who connected with Gen Z customers. Jasmine made her vice president of brand development at 26, then senior vice president at 28. Sierra now owned 8% of the company, worth about $160 million on paper. Jasmine trusted Sierra completely. She was family. More than that, she was the only family Jasmine had left. Their mother had died of breast cancer when Jasmine was 25 and Sierra was 19. Their father had left when they were children. Jasmine had raised Sierra, put her through UC Berkeley, supported her dreams. They were sisters, partners, best friends. Or so Jasmine thought. The problem started small. Inventory discrepancies that Sierra said were supplier errors. Marketing budgets that ran over by hundreds of thousands, which Sierra blamed on algorithm changes and platform costs. Product launches that underperformed despite massive social media campaigns that Sierra had assured would go viral. Jasmine noticed but didn't worry too much. Business had ups and downs. Sierra was young, still learning. Then, 6 months ago, something stranger happened. Jasmine started being left out of meetings, strategy sessions she wasn't told about, investor calls she wasn't invited to, decisions being made without her input. When she asked Sierra about it, her sister would smile and say, "Just trying to take some work off your plate, Jazz. You're always saying you're overwhelmed. Let me handle the day-to-day stuff. You focus on the vision." It sounded reasonable. Jasmine was exhausted. Running a billion-dollar company meant constant travel, constant pressure, constant decisions. If Sierra could handle operations, that would free Jasmine to focus on product development and long-term strategy. But something felt wrong. Jasmine couldn't put her finger on it. But Sierra was different. More confident, yes, but also more distant. Less warm, more calculating. She stopped asking Jasmine for advice, stopped including her in decisions, started making announcements without consultation. When Jasmine pushed back, Sierra would get defensive. "I'm not your assistant anymore, Jazz. I'm a senior executive. You need to trust me to do my job." Then 3 weeks ago, Jasmine received an anonymous email. No name, no signature, just a subject line that said, "Check the Q3 financials carefully. Someone is moving money." Jasmine almost deleted it as spam. But something made her look. She spent 2 days buried in financial reports, tracing transactions, following digital trails. What she found made her physically ill. Sierra had been systematically siphoning money from Crown Cosmetics for 8 months. Not in one large theft that would trigger alarms, but in hundreds of small transactions. Fake consultant fees, inflated marketing expenses, payments to shell companies that didn't exist, bonuses to employees who'd already left the company. It added up to $4.2 million, all of it flowing to accounts Sierra controlled. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the legal documents Jasmine found buried in Sierra's digital files. Articles of incorporation for a new company called Rain Beauty. Corporate filings showing Sierra as founder and CEO. A cap table showing Sierra owned 75%, with the remaining 25% split between 3 investors Jasmine recognized. They were Crown's investors. The same venture capital firms that had backed Crown Cosmetics were now funding Sierra's competing company. Jasmine dug deeper. She hacked into Sierra's email using an old password they used to share. What she found destroyed her. Emails going back 10 months showing Sierra had been planning this from the beginning. She'd been recruiting Crown's best employees, promising them equity in Rain Beauty. She'd been meeting with Crown's suppliers, negotiating deals to cut Crown out and supply Rain exclusively. She'd been talking to Crown's retail partners, telling them that Crown was failing, that Jasmine was losing her edge, that Rain Beauty would be the next big thing. But the most devastating emails were between Sierra and the investors. In them, Sierra laid out her complete strategy. She would sabotage Crown Cosmetics from the inside, drive revenue down by launching failed marketing campaigns, damage relationships with retail partners by missing deadlines and creating supply problems, steal key employees and intellectual property, make Crown look unstable and poorly managed. Then, when Crown's value had dropped enough, Sierra and the investors would offer to buy Jasmine out. A lowball offer Jasmine would have to take because the company would appear to be failing. If Jasmine refused, Sierra had a backup plan. She would leak to the press that Crown Cosmetics was in financial trouble. She would spread rumors that Jasmine was difficult to work with, that employees were fleeing, that the company's best days were behind it. She would tank Crown's reputation and then launch Rain Beauty as the new, better alternative. The investors loved it. "This is exactly what we need," one investor wrote. Jasmine had her moment. Now it's time for fresh leadership. Sierra is hungry in a way Jasmine isn't anymore. Let's make this happen. Jasmine sat in her home office reading these emails at 3 in the morning, tears streaming down her face. Her baby sister, the girl she'd raised, the girl she'd given everything to, was planning to destroy her, not just take her company, but humiliate her, erase her legacy, steal everything she'd built. The betrayal was so complete, so calculated, so cruel that Jasmine couldn't breathe. She walked to her bathroom and threw up. Then she sat on the cold tile floor and cried for an hour. When she finally stopped crying, something inside her had changed. The Jasmine who trusted easily, who believed family was everything, who thought love and loyalty mattered more than money. That woman died on that bathroom floor. What remained was harder, sharper, angrier, and ready to fight. Jasmine called her lawyer at 7 in the morning. Patricia Monroe had been Crown's general counsel for 6 years. She was sharp, ruthless, and fiercely protective of Jasmine. "Patricia, I need to see you immediately. Not at the office. Somewhere private." They met at Patricia's home in Brentwood 2 hours later. Jasmine brought her laptop and showed Patricia everything. The stolen money, the secret company, the emails planning Crown's destruction. Patricia's face grew darker with every page. This is corporate espionage. This is theft. This is conspiracy. We can have her arrested today. No, Jasmine said quietly. Not yet. Why not? Because I need to know who else is involved. Those emails only show 3 investors and Sierra, but someone had to help her access those accounts. Someone had to help her steal those files. Someone inside Crown is working with her, and I need to know who before I make a move. What are you going to do? Jasmine smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I'm going to disappear. Patricia looked confused. Disappear? I'm going to tell Sierra and the board that I'm taking a sabbatical. Burnout, stress, doctor's orders. I'll be gone for 6 weeks, completely off-grid. No phone, no email, total disconnection. What will you really be doing? Working at Crown. Patricia stared at her. Working at Crown? As what? As security. Night shift. The guards rotate through every floor. They see everything. They hear everything. And no one pays attention to them because they're just security. They're invisible. Jasmine, this is insane. Is it? My sister is trying to steal my company from the inside. She thinks I'm clueless, that I'm losing my edge, that I'm too soft to see what's happening. She's about to learn that being underestimated is the most powerful position you can be in. Patricia set up everything. She contacted a private security firm Crown used for supplemental guards during busy periods. She created a fake identity, Jade Robinson, a new night security officer with a clean background and solid references. The paperwork was perfect. Even if someone checked, nothing would trace back to Jasmine Reid. Jasmine transformed herself completely. She cut her signature long locks into a short, natural style and dyed it darker. She wore brown contacts instead of her usual prescription ones. She gained 15 pounds deliberately to change her silhouette. She practiced walking differently, talking differently, carrying herself differently. The CEO, who walked with confidence and power, became the security guard who moved quietly and blended into the background. She studied security protocols, learned the radio codes, memorized the building layout from a guard's perspective rather than an executive's. 2 weeks later, Jasmine called a meeting with her executive team and the board. She sat at the head of the conference table looking exhausted, which wasn't hard because she was exhausted. I need to make an announcement, Jasmine said quietly. I'm taking a sabbatical, effective immediately. The room erupted. Sierra's face showed perfect surprise and concern, but Jasmine saw something else flash in her eyes for just a second. Excitement. Jazz, what's wrong? Sierra asked, reaching across the table to grab Jasmine's hand. Are you okay? I'm burned out, Jasmine said. My doctor says I'm on the edge of serious health problems if I don't take time off. Complete disconnection. No work, no phone, no email. 6 weeks minimum. She paused. Sierra, you'll run Crown while I'm gone. You're ready for this. Sierra's face showed perfect reluctance, but her eyes gleamed. Jazz, I don't know if I'm ready for that responsibility. You are, Jasmine said firmly. You've been doing most of the operational work anyway. This is your chance to show the board what you can do. The board members exchanged glances but nodded. It made sense. Sierra was capable. It was only 6 weeks. Take the time you need, Jasmine, the board chair said. Your health comes first. That afternoon, Jasmine packed a bag, hugged Sierra goodbye, and drove away from Crown Tower. Sierra watched from her office window, and Jasmine could see her sister smiling. Within an hour, Jasmine checked into a small extended stay hotel in Inglewood under her fake name. That night, Jade Robinson reported for her first shift as a security guard at Crown Cosmetics. The night security supervisor, a no-nonsense woman named Carmen Rodriguez, showed her the ropes. You'll patrol floors 55 through 60, Carmen explained. Those are the executive offices. Check doors, check windows, respond to any alarms. Most nights it's quiet. Sometimes executives work late. Just leave them alone unless they need something. Yes, ma'am, Jasmine said in the softer voice she'd been practicing. Carmen looked at her. You former military? Yes, ma'am. Army. 4 years. Good. We need people who take the job seriously. This is an important company. Ms. Reid built something special here. We protect that. Yes, ma'am. Jasmine meant it more than Carmen could possibly know. The first week was quiet. Jasmine patrolled the halls she'd walked 1,000 times as CEO, but now seeing them from a different angle. She observed her employees working late. Most were dedicated, good people doing honest work. But she also noticed patterns. Sierra was in the office every night until at least midnight. She had meetings in her office, always with the door closed. Jasmine couldn't hear through the thick glass, but she could see. 3 of Crown's senior directors met with Sierra multiple times. Daniel Park, the chief technology officer, Melissa Chen, the head of product development, and Marcus Turner, the director of supply chain. These were people Jasmine had hired, people she'd trusted, people she'd promoted. Watching them laugh and strategize with Sierra while Jasmine was supposedly broken down and hiding away, it hurt in a way she hadn't expected. On her 8th night, Jasmine got her first real break. She was doing her rounds on the 58th floor when she heard voices in the executive break room. It was almost 11 p.m. The door was cracked open. She recognized the voices immediately. Sierra, Daniel, Melissa, and Marcus. She kept her eyes on her tablet, pretending to log her security checks while she positioned herself near the door. The conversation was clear. "The transition is happening faster than we planned," Sierra said. Jasmine could hear the excitement in her voice. "With Jazz gone, I've been able to move on 3 major decisions she'd been blocking. The rebrand, the supplier switch, and the staff restructuring." "What about the board?" Marcus asked. "Are they asking questions?" "Not yet," Sierra replied. "They think Jazz is just burned out. They don't know she's been making bad decisions for months, running the company into the ground while pretending everything's fine." "But you've been documenting everything, right?" Daniel asked. "Every mistake, every missed opportunity, every time she refused to listen to our suggestions. When she comes back, we'll have a pattern showing she's no longer fit to lead Crown." Jasmine's hand tightened on her tablet. She forced herself to stay still, stay quiet, stay invisible. "What about Rain?" Melissa asked. "We're on track," Sierra said. "Launch is scheduled for 8 weeks from now. By then, Crown will be so damaged that when Rain debuts, everyone will see it as the natural evolution. The investors are ready. The products are ready. The team is ready. We just need Jazz to stay out of the way for another month." "Then what?" Marcus asked. "Then the board votes her out," Sierra said simply. "I'll have majority support. She'll be offered a buyout, pennies on the dollar for what Crown is actually worth." "And if she fights?" Daniel asked. "She won't," Sierra said, and Jasmine could hear the smile in her voice. "Jazz is soft. She's emotional. She built this company on heart and passion and all that inspirational stuff. But that doesn't work at this level. She's not ruthless enough to survive. She never was. That's why I'll win." Jasmine stood outside that door in her security uniform, listening to her baby sister plot her destruction, and she realized something. Sierra had never loved her. Maybe Sierra had been grateful once, when Jasmine paid for her education and gave her opportunities. But love, respect, loyalty, no. Sierra saw Jasmine as weak, as an obstacle, as someone to be used and then discarded. The little sister Jasmine had raised, protected, and built a fortune for saw her as nothing more than a stepping stone. Over the next 3 weeks, Jasmine documented everything. Patricia provided her with recording devices built into her security radio and name badge. Jasmine recorded every conversation, every meeting, every moment of conspiracy. She photographed documents left carelessly on desks. She accessed computers using Sierra's password that she'd discovered written on a sticky note hidden in her desk drawer. Sierra had gotten sloppy, confident that Jasmine was too broken to fight back. Jasmine discovered the full scope of the betrayal. Sierra had recruited 12 of Crown's employees to jump to Rain Beauty, offering them doubled salaries and equity stakes. She'd stolen Crown's product formulations, the proprietary blends Jasmine had spent years perfecting. She'd copied Crown's supplier contracts and customer databases. She'd even stolen the designs for Crown's upcoming holiday collection. But worse, Sierra had been actively sabotaging Crown's operations. She'd approved a faulty batch of foundation that had to be recalled, costing Crown $3 million and damaging their reputation. She'd delayed a major product launch, causing Crown to miss the crucial back-to-school season. She'd fired 3 of Crown's best chemists, claiming budget cuts, then immediately hired them for Rain. Every decision was designed to make Crown look unstable and Jasmine look incompetent. The investors were fully complicit. Email chains showed they'd been planning this for over a year, since before Sierra even approached them about Rain. They'd been looking for an opportunity to push Jasmine out and install younger leadership. Sierra was their perfect weapon. Young, hungry, ruthless, and already on the inside. One email from an investor made Jasmine's blood boil. Jasmine Reid had her moment, but she's too focused on legacy and representation to scale Crown to its full potential. Sierra understands that business is business. She won't let sentiment get in the way of profit. She's the leader Crown needs for the next decade. Jasmine sat in an empty office reading that email at 2 in the morning, and she laughed. It was a bitter sound. They thought she was soft. They thought caring about representation and legacy made her weak. They were about to learn that the most dangerous opponent is the one you underestimate. On her 21st night as a security guard, Jasmine hit the jackpot. She was patrolling the 60th floor when she noticed Sierra's office light was on. It was past midnight. Through the glass wall, Jasmine could see Sierra on a video call. She moved closer, pretending to check a door lock near Sierra's office. The audio was clear through the door. "The offshore accounts are set up," a man's voice said through the laptop speaker. "All the transfers will be untraceable once you execute." "How much total?" Sierra asked. "With everything you've moved, plus the final transfers we have planned, about 8.5 million. Once Crown's stock tanks and you execute the buyout, you'll have liquidated your 8% stake at full value while buying back in at 30 cents on the dollar. Plus, you'll own 75% of Rain Beauty, which will immediately be valued at 200 million with our backing. You'll go from 160 million on paper to 350 million in liquid assets and equity in under a year." Sierra smiled at her screen. "And Jazz? She'll be lucky to walk away with 50 million after the board forces her out. Everything she built, gone. Everything she sacrificed, meaningless. She'll spend the rest of her life watching me succeed while she fades into irrelevance." The man on the screen laughed. "You really don't like your sister, do you?" "I don't like anyone who's in my way," Sierra replied coldly. Jazz had her moment. She should have sold Crown 3 years ago when we were at peak valuation. But she was too attached, too sentimental about what Crown represented. That weakness is going to cost her everything. "And you're okay with that?" "She's family." Sierra leaned back in Jasmine's chair, in Jasmine's office, plotting Jasmine's destruction. "Family is just people who share your DNA. It doesn't mean they're owed anything. Jazz gave me opportunities, sure, but I earned everything I have. I made Crown what it is today with my marketing, my vision, my strategy. She was just the face. Now it's time for me to be the face and the brain." Jasmine stood outside Sierra's office, recording every word, watching her sister through the glass, and she felt something settle inside her. Cold, clear purpose. No more doubt, no more hoping she was wrong. Sierra had shown exactly who she was. Now Jasmine would show Sierra who she had underestimated. The next morning, Jasmine called Patricia from her hotel room. "I have everything. Audio, video, financial records, emails, testimony from employees Sierra tried to recruit. It's time." Patricia's voice was grim. "What do you want to do?" "I want a full board meeting, emergency session. Tell them I'm cutting my sabbatical short because of urgent company matters. Tell them I'll be there tomorrow at 9 a.m. And Sierra? Tell her the same thing. Tell her I'm coming back early and I need her to prepare a full operational report. Let her think I'm coming back defeated, ready to hand over control. Let her think she's won." "Jasmine," Patricia said quietly, "are you ready for this? To destroy your sister? To blow up your family?" Jasmine looked at herself in the hotel mirror. The short hair, the brown contacts, the security uniform hanging in the closet. My sister destroyed herself, Patricia. I'm just making sure everyone else sees what she really is. And my family? Sierra stopped being my family the moment she decided to steal everything I built. Family doesn't betray family. Family doesn't plot destruction. She made her choice. Now she lives with the consequences. The next morning, Jasmine woke up at 5 a.m. in her hotel room. She showered, put in her regular contacts, styled her short hair elegantly, and put on a black power suit that screamed CEO. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back, not because of the physical changes, but because of what showed in her eyes. The Jasmine Reid who'd started Crown Cosmetics 12 years ago had been full of hope and passion and belief in people. The Jasmine Reid looking back from that mirror was harder, colder, sharper. She'd been betrayed by the person she loved most in the world. That changes you. It carves something out of you. What remains is stronger, but also lonelier. Jasmine arrived at Crown Tower at 8:30 a.m. The security guard at the front desk did a double take. "Ms. Reid, we didn't know you were back." "Change of plans," Jasmine said with a smile. "How's everything been?" "Good, ma'am. Quiet." He had no idea she'd been there every night for 3 weeks, walking the same halls in a security uniform. No idea she'd been invisible in her own building. Jasmine rode the elevator to the 60th floor. Her assistant, Marcus, jumped up from his desk when he saw her. "Miss Reid, you're back early. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine, Marcus. I just need to handle something. Is everyone here for the board meeting?" "Yes, ma'am. They're gathering in the conference room now." "Good." Jasmine walked toward the executive conference room, her heels clicking on the marble floor. Through the glass walls, she could see the board members taking their seats. Sierra was already there, standing at the head of the table, looking confident and prepared. She'd probably spent all night working on her presentation, her report on how well she'd managed Crown in Jasmine's absence. Jasmine pushed open the conference room door. Every head turned. Sierra's face went through several expressions in rapid succession. Surprise, confusion, then a carefully constructed mask of relief and welcome. "Jazz!" Sierra rushed around the table and hugged her. "Oh my God, you look amazing. I'm so glad you're back. We missed you so much." Jasmine hugged her back, feeling nothing but coldness where love used to be. "Missed you too, Sierra. Thank you for holding everything together." They sat down. Jasmine at the head of the table, Sierra to her right, like always. The board members welcomed Jasmine back, asked about her health, expressed relief that she looked rested. "Before we start with Sierra's operational report," Jasmine said calmly, "I need to address something urgent that came to my attention during my sabbatical." The room went quiet. Sierra's confident expression faltered slightly. "Even though I was disconnected from work," Jasmine continued, "I received some information that concerned me deeply. Information about financial irregularities, about potential corporate espionage, about activities that could seriously damage Crown." She looked directly at Sierra. "So I did some investigating." Sierra's face had gone pale, but she recovered quickly, forcing a confused smile. "Jazz, what are you talking about?" "I'm talking about $8.5 million that's been stolen from Crown over the past 8 months. I'm talking about a competing company called Rain Beauty that's been built using Crown's intellectual property, Crown's suppliers, and Crown's employees. I'm talking about a systematic plan to sabotage Crown's operations, tank our stock value, force me out, and transfer everything I built to new ownership." The room erupted, board members shouting questions. Sierra standing up, her face flushed. "That's insane, Jazz. Where is this coming from? You're clearly still not well. This sabbatical wasn't long enough. You're paranoid." Jasmine pressed a button on the tablet in front of her. The large screen on the wall came to life. Video footage began playing. Sierra in her office on a video call discussing offshore accounts and transfer amounts. Sierra in the break room with Daniel, Melissa, and Marcus, planning how to document Jasmine's mistakes. Sierra in meetings with investors, pitching Rain Beauty as Crown's replacement. The audio was crystal clear. Every word, every betrayal, every calculated moment of destruction. Jasmine had been making bad decisions for months, running the company into the ground while pretending everything's fine. Sierra's voice filled the conference room. We just need Jazz to stay out of the way for another month. Then the board votes her out. Jazz is soft. She's emotional. She's not ruthless enough to survive. She never was. The board members sat in stunned silence, watching the screen. Sierra stood frozen, her mouth open, her face cycling through denial, panic, and finally, cold hatred. The video continued, showing email chains, financial transfers, stolen product formulations, everything Jasmine had documented over 3 weeks. How? Sierra finally whispered. How did you get this? Jasmine stood up slowly. She pulled off her suit jacket. Underneath, she wore a gray security uniform shirt. For the past 3 weeks, while you thought I was hiding away broken and defeated, I was here. Every night. Watching. Listening. Documenting. She reached into her bag and pulled out her security badge. Jade Robinson. Night shift security. Invisible. Ignored. Seeing everything. Sierra's face went from pale to red. You spied on me? You went undercover in your own company? I protected my company, Jasmine said coldly. From a thief, from a traitor, from someone I trusted more than anyone in the world who decided to destroy me for profit. Jazz, please. Sierra's voice cracked. You don't understand. I can explain. Explain what? Jasmine's voice was ice. Explain how you stole $8.5 million. Explain how you sabotaged our product launches. Explain how you recruited our employees to your competing company. Explain how you told investors I was weak and emotional and needed to be replaced. She pressed play on another video. This one showed Sierra's late-night video call. Family is just people who share your DNA. It doesn't mean they're owed anything. Jazz had her moment. Now it's time for me to be the face and the brain. The conference room was dead silent. One of the board members, an older woman named Margaret Foster, who'd been with Crown since the beginning, spoke quietly. Sierra, is all of this true? Sierra looked around the table, seeing no allies, no support, no escape. Her mask finally dropped completely. Yes, she said flatly. It's true. All of it. Why? Margaret asked, her voice pained. Jasmine gave you everything. She made you wealthy. She trusted you. And that was the problem, Sierra said bitterly. She gave me everything, like I was a charity case, like I should be grateful for scraps from her table. I built Crown's brand. I created the marketing that made us billions. But everyone always talks about Jasmine Reid, the inspiring CEO, the self-made billionaire, the woman who started with nothing. What about me? What about what I contributed? You own 8% of a billion-dollar company, another board member said incredulously. You're worth $160 million at 30 years old. How is that scraps? It's 8%, Sierra shouted. 8%. I deserve 50%. I deserve equal credit. But no, it's always Jasmine's company, Jasmine's vision, Jasmine's legacy. I'm just the little sister who got lucky. Well, I was going to take what I deserved, and if Jazz was too weak to stop me, that just proved she didn't deserve it in the first place. Jasmine felt something break inside her chest, not her heart. That had already broken 3 weeks ago reading those emails. This was something else. The final thread of hope that maybe Sierra had been manipulated, maybe she'd made a mistake, maybe some part of the sister Jasmine loved still existed. That hope died in that moment. I raised you, Jasmine said quietly. When Mom died, I was 25 years old, barely an adult myself. I put my dreams on hold to make sure you finished college. I worked 3 jobs to pay your tuition. I gave you every opportunity. I brought you into my company. I made you wealthy beyond anything we dreamed of as kids in East Oakland, and you think you deserved more? I earned it, Sierra spat. Everything I did, I earned. You didn't give me anything I didn't work for. You're right, Jasmine said. You did work hard. You are talented. You did contribute to Crown's success. But you know what you didn't earn? The right to steal from me, the right to sabotage what I built, the right to betray your own sister for money, that you chose, that was your character, and now you get to live with the consequences. She nodded to Patricia, who'd been sitting quietly at the end of the table. Patricia stood and handed Sierra a folder. Inside were legal documents. "You're fired. Effective immediately," Jasmine said. "Your 8% ownership stake is being seized to cover the money you stole plus damages. You're being sued personally for corporate espionage, theft, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty. The FBI has been notified about the offshore accounts and will be investigating money laundering charges. Security will escort you out of the building immediately. You're banned from Crown property permanently." Sierra stared at the documents, then at Jasmine. Her eyes filled with tears, but Jasmine couldn't tell if they were from sadness or rage. "You're really going to do this? To your own sister?" "You did this," Jasmine said. "You made every choice that led to this moment. You could have talked to me. You could have asked for more equity, more recognition, more responsibility. I would have listened. I would have worked with you. But you chose betrayal. You chose cruelty. You chose to try to destroy me. So yes, I'm really going to do this. To the person who used to be my sister." 2 security guards appeared at the conference room door. Sierra looked at them, then back at Jasmine. "I hope you're happy," she said bitterly. "I hope Crown was worth destroying your only family." Jasmine met her eyes steadily. "You destroyed our family the moment you decided I was your enemy instead of your sister. Now get out of my building." They escorted Sierra out. Jasmine watched her go, watched her little sister walk out of Crown Tower in disgrace, and felt absolutely nothing. The board sat in stunned silence. Finally, Margaret spoke. "Jasmine, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. None of us suspected." "That's because you're not trained to see betrayal," Jasmine said quietly. "You're trained to see business. But I learned something these past 3 weeks. People show you exactly who they are when they think no one important is watching. Sierra showed me she was a thief, a liar, and someone willing to destroy her own sister for profit. I just made sure everyone else saw it too." Over the next month, the legal machinery ground forward. Sierra was charged with embezzlement, corporate espionage, and fraud. The evidence was overwhelming. She tried to claim she was defending herself against Jasmine's controlling behavior, that she'd been stifled and undervalued, that she deserved what she tried to take. The jury didn't buy it. She was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison. Her 8% stake in Crown was liquidated to pay restitution and legal fees. She ended up with nothing. The 3 executives who'd helped her, Daniel, Melissa, and Marcus, were all fired and faced their own legal consequences. The investors who'd backed Rain Beauty were investigated for conspiracy and settled out of court for millions. Rain Beauty dissolved before it ever launched. Crown Cosmetics survived, but the betrayal left scars. Jasmine became more guarded, more careful, more suspicious of everyone's motives. She hired new executives, vetted them thoroughly, trusted them slowly. The company continued to grow, but Jasmine was different. Harder, colder, more distant. 6 months after Sierra's sentencing, Jasmine sat in her office late at night, looking out at the Los Angeles skyline. Crown had just been valued at $2.8 billion, its highest ever. Revenue was up. New products were launching. Everything was success by every metric that mattered. But Jasmine felt empty. Patricia knocked on her door. "You're working too late again." Jasmine shrugged. "Lots to do." Patricia walked in and sat down uninvited. "You know, you saved Crown. You protected everything you built. You did the right thing. So why do I feel like I lost?" "Because you did lose," Patricia said gently. "You lost your sister. You lost your ability to trust easily. You lost the part of you that believed family meant something. Those are real losses, Jasmine. You're allowed to grieve them even though you made the right choice." "I raised her," Jasmine said quietly. "I gave her everything. And she looked at me like an obstacle to eliminate. How do I come back from that?" "You don't come back," Patricia replied. "You move forward. You build something new. You find people who value what you value. You create a different kind of family, one based on earned trust rather than shared blood. But that takes time. And it takes letting people in, even though it's scary now. I don't know if I can do that." "Sure you can. You went undercover in your own company for 3 weeks to catch a thief. You documented everything perfectly. You confronted your sister in front of the board and didn't break. You're one of the strongest people I know. Don't let Sierra's betrayal make you weak by closing yourself off. Jasmine nodded slowly, not sure she believed it, but wanting to. Over the next year, Jasmine slowly rebuilt, not just Crown, but herself. She started therapy to process the betrayal and the grief. She reconnected with old friends she'd neglected while building her empire. She hired a new executive team and gradually learned to trust them through their actions, not their words. She started mentoring young Black women entrepreneurs, sharing her story, warning them about the dangers of blind trust while encouraging them to stay open to real connection. 2 years after Sierra's sentencing, Jasmine attended a business conference in San Francisco. During a break, a young woman approached her nervously. "Ms. Reid, I just wanted to say thank you. Your story about what happened with your sister, it saved me." "How?" Jasmine asked, genuinely curious. "I was in business with my best friend," the woman said. "We'd known each other since high school. I trusted her completely. But I read about what you went through, and it made me actually look at our books carefully. She'd been stealing from me for 6 months. Because of your story, I caught it early and got out before she could destroy everything. I'm sorry you had to learn that lesson," Jasmine said. "But I'm glad my pain helped you avoid the same mistake." The woman hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you regret it? Catching your sister? Prosecuting her? Losing your family?" Jasmine thought about it carefully. "If you'd asked me a year ago, I might have said yes. But now? No, I don't regret it. Sierra made her choices. She could have been honest. She could have left Crown and started her own company legitimately. She chose betrayal. I chose truth. Losing her hurt, but keeping her in my life while she destroyed me would have hurt more." That evening, Jasmine returned to her hotel room and found an unexpected email. It was from Sierra. She was 2 years into her sentence, eligible for parole in 4 more years. The email was short. "Jazz, I know I don't have the right to ask for anything from you. I know I destroyed our relationship and our family. I know you probably hate me. But I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. Not sorry I got caught. Sorry for what I did. Prison gives you a lot of time to think, to see yourself clearly. And I finally see what I was. I was jealous, bitter, greedy, and cruel. I convinced myself I deserved more, that you owed me more, that taking from you was justified. But the truth is, you gave me everything, and I threw it away because I couldn't stand being second. I wanted to be you instead of being grateful to be your sister. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that you were right. About everything. I hope Crown continues to thrive. I hope you find happiness. And I hope someday, maybe years from now, we might be able to have a conversation. Not as business partners. Not as CEO and VP. Just as 2 women who used to be sisters and maybe could learn to be something again. Even if it's just civil strangers. Take care of yourself, Jazz. You always were the strong one, Sierra." Jasmine read the email 3 times. She felt a complicated mix of emotions. Anger that Sierra thought a simple apology could fix years of betrayal. Sadness for what they'd lost. Relief that she'd caught Sierra before the damage was irreparable to Crown. And underneath it all, a tiny seed of something that might someday grow into forgiveness. Not yet. Not soon. But maybe, eventually, someday. She closed her laptop without replying. She wasn't ready for that conversation. Maybe she never would be. But the fact that Sierra had written it, had acknowledged the truth, had taken responsibility, that was something. It was more than Jasmine expected. That night, Jasmine lay in her hotel bed thinking about everything. The girl from East Oakland who built an empire. The CEO who disguised herself as security to catch a thief. The sister who chose truth over family. The woman who lost everything and rebuilt anyway. 3 years after the betrayal, Jasmine stood on stage at a Women in Business conference. The audience was packed with entrepreneurs, executives, and young women just starting their journeys. She'd been asked to give the keynote speech, share her story, inspire the next generation. "I want to tell you about the worst night of my life," Jasmine began. 3 years ago, I stood in an empty office at 2 in the morning, wearing a security uniform, listening to my baby sister plot to steal everything I'd built. The sister I raised, the sister I gave every opportunity to, the sister I trusted more than anyone in the world. She was planning to destroy me, and she was laughing about how easy it was because I was too soft, too emotional, too trusting to see it coming. The audience was silent, captivated. "I could have confronted her immediately," Jasmine continued. "I could have called the police, called my lawyer, and shut it down. But I needed to see the full picture. I needed to understand exactly who was involved and how deep the betrayal went. So I spent 3 weeks invisible in my own company, watching and documenting everything." She paused. "I learned something profound during those 3 weeks. Character is revealed when people think no one important is watching. My sister showed me exactly who she was when she thought I couldn't see. But you know what else I learned? I showed myself who I was too. I was stronger than I thought. I was smarter than they believed. I was capable of doing whatever it took to protect what I built. Today, Crown Cosmetics is worth $3.2 billion. We employ 800 people. Our products are in 15,000 stores worldwide. We've launched a foundation that provides grants to Black women entrepreneurs. We're thriving. But I'm not here to talk about business success," Jasmine said. "I'm here to talk about the cost of that success and whether it's worth it." She looked out at the audience. "I lost my only sister. I lost my ability to trust easily. I lost years of my life to anger and grief and rebuilding. Was it worth it?" She paused, making sure every person in that room was listening. "Yes." Because the alternative was letting her destroy me. The alternative was teaching every person watching that betrayal succeeds if you're just bold enough. The alternative was losing everything I built not to competition or market forces, but to someone who thought my kindness was weakness. Her voice grew stronger. "Don't confuse kindness with weakness. Don't confuse trust with blindness. And don't ever let someone make you believe that protecting yourself from betrayal makes you the bad guy. You can be compassionate and strong. You can be trusting and wise. You can love people and still hold them accountable for their actions." The audience erupted in applause. After the speech, dozens of women approached Jasmine to share their own stories of betrayal, of having to make hard choices, of choosing truth over comfort. 5 years after everything fell apart, Jasmine sat in her office at Crown Tower. It was late afternoon, the golden California sun streaming through the windows. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello? Jazz?" It was Sierra's voice, tentative and small. Nothing like the confident VP who'd once schemed to take everything. Jasmine's first instinct was to hang up, but she didn't. "Sierra. How are you?" "I'm out," Sierra said. "Paroled last month. 4 years served, 2 years early for good behavior. Congratulations." There was a long silence. "I don't expect anything from you," Sierra finally said. "I don't expect forgiveness or reconciliation or anything. I just wanted you to know that I've spent 4 years thinking about what I did, about who I was, and I'm different now. Prison changes you. It forces you to see yourself clearly. I saw someone I didn't like, someone I don't want to be anymore. What do you want from me, Sierra?" "Nothing," Sierra said. "I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. And I'm proud of what you've done with Crown. I saw you on the cover of Forbes. I read about the foundation. I see you mentoring young women. You became everything you were meant to be, and I almost destroyed that because I was too bitter to celebrate your success. I'm sorry, Jazz, for everything." Jasmine felt something loosen in her chest. Not forgiveness, not yet. But maybe the beginning of letting go. "I appreciate you saying that," Jasmine said carefully. "It doesn't change what happened, it doesn't erase the damage, but I hear you. Thank you. There was another long silence. Could we, maybe, sometime get coffee? Sierra asked. Not now, not soon. But maybe someday? When you're ready. If you're ever ready. I miss my sister. Even if she can't forgive me, I miss her. Jasmine closed her eyes. The wound was old now, scarred over but still tender. Maybe, she said. Someday. Not now. But maybe someday. After Sierra hung up, Jasmine sat quietly in her office. The sister who'd betrayed her wanted reconciliation. The woman who'd tried to destroy her wanted forgiveness. Did she deserve it? Jasmine didn't know, but she knew something else. She'd survived. She'd thrived. She'd built something lasting and meaningful. And whether or not she ever forgave Sierra, she'd already won. Not by destroying Sierra, although the legal consequences had done that effectively, but by refusing to let betrayal destroy her, by choosing to remain open even after being hurt, by building a life and a legacy that mattered. That night, Jasmine went home to her house in the Hollywood Hills, the same house she'd bought with her first big profits. She poured a glass of wine and sat on her balcony watching the sun set over Los Angeles. Her phone buzzed with a text from Patricia. Saw the Forbes piece about Crown's Q3 numbers. 40% growth. You're killing it, boss. Jasmine smiled. Thanks, P. Working on the next thing, Patricia replied immediately. Don't work too late. Even CEOs need rest, especially CEOs who've been through what you have. Jasmine looked out at the city lights starting to twinkle below, the empire she'd built, the legacy she was creating, the life she'd fought to protect. 7 years ago, she'd started Crown Cosmetics in her grandmother's kitchen. 5 years ago, she'd discovered her sister's betrayal. 3 years ago, she'd rebuilt herself and her company. Today, she was stronger, wiser, and more successful than ever. Was she happier? That was complicated. She'd lost her sister, lost her innocence, lost her ability to trust blindly. But she'd gained something too: self-knowledge, strength, the understanding that she could survive anything, the certainty that her success was hers, earned through her own work and vision, not dependent on anyone else's loyalty or support. The CEO who'd disguised herself as a security guard had learned the most important lesson of all: that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones you need to watch most carefully. That trust must be earned through actions, not assumed through relationships. That protecting yourself isn't cruelty, it's wisdom. And that real strength isn't about never being hurt. It's about surviving the hurt and choosing to keep building anyway. Jasmine raised her wine glass to the Los Angeles skyline. To survival, she whispered. To truth. And to building something so strong that no betrayal can destroy it. And she meant every word. My beautiful people, thank you for watching this emotional story. If it touched your heart, please like this video so more people can learn from it. And if you're new here, hit subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Don't miss any of our powerful stories. Before you leave, tell me in the comments, what part of today's story touched you the most? Your comments help the channel grow and bring more stories your way. See you in the next emotional journey.